Good lord, that was a jam-packed and really messed up episode. Welcome all fellow wannabes, welcome to the channel. I am Gabriel Fast and I do claim to be the Wannabe Critic. If this is your first time here and you like what you see, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. There's a lot of different things that I do here. I'm the host of a podcast, talk about video games, pop culture, and a variety of other things. Now, let's get into it. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 4. So it's pretty straightforward. We pick up right from where we left off last week. We get a little montage of kind of like how the Wakandans helped Bucky kind of unlock himself from the brainwashing that he had found. So, we kind of get the sense that Bucky really owes a sense of gratitude to the Wakandans for helping him and giving him his arm and that whole thing. So they try and kind of put that in our mind as we move along through the episode. Io pretty much tells him like, hey, Zemo killed King T'Chaka. Why are you helping him? Bucky explains like it's not anything personal. It's just, it's for the greater good that they're helping Zemo. But the Wakandans, they're pretty set in their ways. So they're like, I don't know about that. You have 8 hours to do what you need with him, and then we're going to come for him. Then after some planning and Zemo being really, really creepy with the Turkish delight, they pretty much figure out that they need to go to the last place that Carly was found, which was, they're having this ceremony for this Mama Danya, as they're calling her. Apparently she was a figure, for a lot of these people around this area. And really a main driving force for a lot of the Flag Smashers would even be getting involved in doing what they're doing in the first place. It's like a main driving force behind what Carly is doing. Then, of course, John Walker shows up and completely ruins everything and is like, no, we're not going to do it your way. Like you guys need our help. We're going to infiltrate, do this my style, American. But, after some coaxing, Sam and Bucky, they convince him like, hey, let's do it our way first. And he's like, okay, once they get to the place, the funeral, Sam goes alone because, that's what he focused on was he's kind of like a negotiator, and kind of like was able to, talk people through things. That's what his main job was in the army. So he thinks that he might be able to get through to Carly because Carly's just a kid, Carly Morgenthau. She's just a kid, she's just a kid with superpowers that is trying to make a difference in the world. But, of course, John Walker completely ruins everything. Meanwhile, after John Walker and his sidekick, whose name escapes me for some reason, they're trying to detain Zemo while Sam is going, but after, a certain amount of time, John Walker decides that he's going to bust in on Sam and Carly, and that gives Zemo a chance to escape. So in the confusion, once Carly realizes that Sam isn't alone and, she infers that his motives may not be completely pure, she tries to flee. So then there's all this like scrambling of people chasing after Carly, Zemo escaping, and there's just a lot of pandemonium happening. John Walker gets lost in the whole fray, and he's like, oh, it's amazing here. I don't know what's going on. Then we get a quick shot to show that Zemo has escaped. Well, Zemo finds Carly, shoots her in the stomach, sees all the super soldier serums, and just starts straight up stomping them. Just starts taking them out, because that's the root of the problem. It's like, we don't need any more superheroes, right? So just starts stomping them out. But then John Walker shows up, gives him the whole shield to the face method, and it knocks Zemo out. John Walker sees one vial left, puts it in his pocket, and hides it. And then about that time, Sam and Bucky show up, and they're like, oh, what did we miss? Right after that, they basically go back to the safe house that they were at. Zemo asks Sam, like, if you were offered the serum, which hypothetically, let's say you were offered the serum, would you take it? Sam immediately says no. Zemo, like, gives him some commendation, like, oh, wow, like, from no hesitation, that's awesome. So right after that, John Walker showed up the first time because he wanted to apprehend Zemo, but Zemo was the whole reason that they were able to get to the funeral in the first place, so that, they kind of had to stall out that whole thing. But now John Walker and Battlestar, just looked it up. John Walker and Battlestar show up and are like, hey, we'll take Zemo now. But right about that time, guess what? 8 hours is up. Here comes the Wakandans. Then they fight. And honestly, John Walker just gets completely bodied in this scene by not even the leader. I can't remember what the task force is called from Wakanda, but basically they're like, our jurisdiction is wherever we need to make our jurisdiction. And they just start fighting, which gives Zemo the perfect opportunity to just kind of slip out unnoticed, because Sam and Bucky, they're fighting part of the task force as well as Battlestar and John Walker. And like I said, like, John Walker just gets completely bodied by the Wakandans. And after they leave and realize that Zemo isn't there, they just kind of like pick up and just go. And then John Walker realizes like, oh, they weren't even super soldiers, and like he's been having this hard time dealing with the burden of being Captain America and like having to be the face. And they really lean into that. It's like, he was always the golden boy and he was like the best candidate. Yeah, he just can't quite live up to the expectations of what Steve Rogers was. There's a moment whenever Battlestar and John are like talking to each other, and they're talking, it's kind of the same scenario. He's like, if you had the chance to take the serum, would you take it, basically? And Battlestar is like, of course I would. They start reminiscing like about their times, like, their old war times, and they're thinking, don't you realize that we could have saved so many more lives had we had that serum? We would have been way more useful. We would have been able to, to take care of so many things, like basically reminiscing and kind of dealing with PTSD in a way whenever you think about it. And John Walker, you can just like, you can see his resolve. He's like, you know what? Yeah, like I need to take the serum. Like he doesn't expressly say that, but you kind of infer that that's what he means, is he's going to be taking the serum at some point. Meanwhile, Carly calls up Sam's sister and is like, hey, you need to tell Sam that I need to meet him alone, or else, I'm going to have to come see you. I need to meet with Sam to let him know that I'm serious. Sam's sister calls him, tells him about it. Bucky and Sam show up to where Carly is, and she's like, you know what, this is join me. It'd be the best thing ever if you guys would just join my cause. And if you're not going to join my cause, then stay out of the way. Then Sam gets a notification on his little, smartwatch thing. There's movement, and John Walker's on the move with Battlestar, which would mean that he's probably found the rest of the Flag Smashers, and potentially Carly was a diversion. So Falcon goes, flies away. They show up. Sure enough, the Flag Smashers are there at this, like safe house of sorts, and, John Walker and Battlestar, like they're going in because they're going to take care of business. That's their business, is taking care of business. Business. Then, there's fighting. There's, Lamar has been captured. Battlestar's been captured, and, he's trying to escape. There's some fighting going on between everybody. John Walker's fighting some of the Flag Smashers, and, Bucky finds this Flag Smasher and, like, kicks him through the wall. I also forgot to mention that, like, whenever Ayo, was, like, doing, like, the pinpoint jutsu thing from Naruto, that Neji did to, like, make his arm fall off, and you could tell, like, he didn't know that she could do that. I thought that was kind of funny. He's kind of at the mercy of the Wakandans at that point. Like, he's not really truly free now, is he? No, like, he still has limitations to his powers. Come with a caveat, and like he still has limitations. He can't just do whatever he wants all the time, which I thought was interesting. But after some fighting at the safe house, Lamar has escaped, and it looks like it's going to be bad for John Walker. But then at the last second, Lamar comes in and saves him, to which Carly kicks him into a pillar, and he's dead. I mean, he's straight up dead. And just the look on John Walker's face, you can tell, like, he's out for blood. So as the Flag Smashers are trying to flee, John Walker realizes Lamar's done for. Then he goes for Carly's, like, one of her good friends, the one that was talking, to her at the cemetery right after Danya's funeral, and like was talking about the super soldier serum. And John Walker just basically starts taking the shield and just starts hacking at the guy. He's like, where is she? He's like, I didn't kill Lamar. That wasn't me. And then he's like, where is she? And then he just starts taking the shield to him. And it's right out in the open, and everyone can see everything, and as like people are taking videos, and we get the idea that this is going to be really, really bad for superheroes. They're definitely flipping everything on its head, and definitely making, the symbol of peace, the symbol of hope is flipped out to be the bad guy now. I really enjoyed this episode overall. It feels like there was a lot of things happening, lots of moving parts, lots of things that were one thing right after another. Definitely, I think the most action-packed so far, and I don't know, like maybe even the most MCU feeling in terms of just pace. I feel like they fit a lot of things into this episode, and overall, I really, really enjoyed it. As to where we could go next, it's going to be interesting. Are we going to see John Walker turn bad, and like kind of completely turn on his ideals? Is he going to have just like a crazy, like, bloodthirsty rampage, in the works? I mean, how are Bucky and Sam going to react? I mean, there's a lot of things happening, and it kind of just left me with the feeling of I don't really know what's coming next. But I think the last two episodes are probably going to be pretty intense, not only for John Walker but for Carly as well. I don't think I can see it going any other way than John Walker potentially dying at the end of this, as well as Carly probably dying, because that would kind of be like the equalizing, you know what I mean? Like, you can't have one without the other type thing, like the ultimate villain and the ultimate superhero. You can't really have one without the other, and I feel like there might be some sort of event that could potentially put them both out of commission. I don't know. It's just speculation at this point. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But anyways, if you like this video and are enjoying The Falcon and the Winter Soldier as much as I am, make sure you leave a thumbs up down below and subscribe if this is your first time. I really, really appreciate it. There's a lot of things that I'm involved in in the description down below. If you want to go check that out, I would seriously appreciate it. But before I go, check this out. Whatever possessed you to check out the podcast or the YouTube channel today, I just want to say thank you so much for doing so. If this is your first time here, I would appreciate it, if you would consider subscribing. As you can tell, it's not just me here anymore. I mean, I do stuff by myself, but the podcast is going to reside here from now on, in video form. So if you want to see more content, if you want to be notified, every time we post something, whether it be a clip, a podcast, a review, an interview, whatever it may be, if it's gaming stuff, make sure you click that bell and hit the subscribe button, and we will see you next time. Thanks for sticking around, and thank you for preparing yourselves for a plethora of hot takes and potentially unpopular opinions. I'm Gabriel Fast. I will always be the Wannabe Critic.